Ask me that question again.
Hey Robert, I was wondering if you're still shadow banned.
They actively try to block me. The thing is I tell the truth all the time, and they're all butthurt about it all the time. Especially when I'm talking about COVID stuff. They really get butthurt about it because I've got accurate stuff. I literally take their own stuff and talk about their stuff, so they can't argue with their own stuff, you know. But what they do is they try to shadow ban you if you're talking like that. And I almost never even get flags on my stuff because my stuff it's how do you argue with the Minnesota Department of Health? How can you say that the Minnesota Department of Health's reports are false?
Especially if you're a left-winger.
All I do is I point out the fact that their numbers don't add up, and I just say, well, I don't know what the reason for it is, but look, it's not true. They're making statements that are sketchy, you know, and especially when Biden was here, right? When Biden was here, they were putting out that the deaths on Biden's visit were 0, right? Right? The deaths were 0.
That sounds like them.
And then the next day the deaths were 100. You know, right? That's amazing. It goes from 0 to 100. And the day before that, it was only 44. You know, the day before Biden came here. You know, and then they started trying to excuse that, saying that, well, the reason that these numbers were 0 when Biden was here because of Thanksgiving. Well, Thanksgiving was on the Thursday of the week before, and they put out a report that said they were taking care of Thanksgiving on Friday. Then they put out a report on Monday, you know. So they put out all these reports, and then, of course, when Biden was here, oh, my God, they got to make it 0, right? Because Biden is here. They want to be on the national news that we got a 0 when Biden was here. And so they put out this thing saying that they had all these things based on Thanksgiving, which they'd done 2 reports since Thanksgiving, and they were saying how they were dealing with Thanksgiving as part of these reports. And they put out on the news that, oh, no. The 0 because of you know, this. And because they want to put this out on the news. And then the next day after he left, they put out 100. So they go from 0 to 100. And then the day after that, they went to 72. And if you do the math on their report, it's 172. So they're putting out a sketchy report on that day too. So they're putting out all these sketchy reports. But what happened? What did we do on Tuesday? We had some fun up on Tuesday.
Rosemount, Minnesota.
Rosemount, Minnesota, yeah.
Biden was making a speech at the Dakota County Technical College.
Yeah.
And
so what happened that day?
Us three, we were sitting inside the college because they were they were asking permission if we could go inside and live the event. So we came so close to going inside to live it, but unfortunately, since we did RSVP
ahead of time,
but
we also weren't invited explicitly. So we were asking permission at the door.
Yes.
We asked them if it was okay for us to video. They asked us if we'd gotten permission already. And I said we hadn't gotten permission already.
But the lady showed us how to
apply.
So
next time,
you know, we can, you know, they send us an RSVP. We can RSVP. So that was very nice.
So I've gotten to go into events like that many times, and I usually don't run video. I usually just take pictures and stuff. But basically, most of the time I go to those kind of events just as a person.
So we came this close to getting in.
Well, you know, the thing was, Cammie wound up looking like a hooligan.
I did not.
Yeah,
I was dressed nice.
Yeah, she shows up with her bandana on.
I have nothing else.
Yeah, and then, you know, we didn't really dress like regular press, so we looked like hooligans. You know, I looked sketchy myself. So all of us looked, and then we were all, you know, it was fun though. We spent almost 2 hours inside the college, and we were talking to all those people.
Yes.
And they were telling us all those stories. And we weren't videotaping it.
No.
But they told us all kinds of stuff that wound up being confirmed.
The college students got told, they got an email the last minute that the classes were done all online. Yep. The school was closed, so it's a last minute thing. Everyone got told at the last minute that you're doing it all online, no one's allowed in.
No students there either.
Yes, but we also found out that the student is speaking at the thing, they were paid. They were not really students. They were actors and actresses, because we ran across 2 students that came
Outside, yeah.
outside that told us that they were all told not to come in. So when you hear students speaking at the thing, they're not students. They are paid.
But I think more interestingly is not what the students on the outside said. Because we got interviews with the students on the outside who said that stuff. More interesting is what we learned inside prior to them even telling us about this stuff. We heard all that same stuff
Yeah.
when we were on the inside, totally independent of those 2 people outside.
Yeah.
We were inside. We saw people like Congressman Phillips, and we saw Melissa Hortman, and we saw big shots and stuff. But it was basically empty in there.
It was.
It was basically empty. There was no people in there. They talked extensively about how the students wouldn't be there. There was a professor who came there who was telling them how they had some kind of an emergency exam and how they were going to have an exam and they were testing upstairs or whatever. But basically, all those students would be gone by a certain time.
Yeah.
We also talked to that one security lady for like an hour. And she was talking about all this stuff about how they wouldn't have any students there and how this was all done last minute and they were notified by email and they weren't allowing any of the students to come and how the students were trying to come because they wanted to come and they weren't being allowed to come in. And all that stuff, we got this before we talked to those 2
and
people.
We had all the entrances to the college blocked, so you can't just drive in there.
Did he come to the college? Yes.
He was talking about that.
Not letting.
He's talking about that big bill. That, how do you say the name? I can never
Infrastructure bill.
Yeah, but he said I cannot say that.
But he went to a predominantly Republican school. Everybody there says that this is not a Democrat school. This is not a school. This is a labor school. This is a tech school. This is mostly working class people that don't like what Biden's doing.
So why did he go there? Is that,
So he went there for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason was. All I know is apparently people figured out that this is not a friendly territory for Biden, and they basically kicked all of those students out
yeah.
for their school for the whole day.
Oh no. So we watched.
What about freedom of the press? Were the press allowed in?
We weren't allowed because we weren't.
But
We did
guess
get. We
who
did.
was there? Fox 9. Fox 9 was there. Channel 5.
We weren't explicitly invited. We tried to get it added, and they didn't add us.
Yeah,
So, but
which is
they
fine.
weren't rude to us or
No.
nothing. So we were in there for a long time.
Yeah.
But we weren't.
Mainstream news was there. I mean,
But
is that really a shocker, though?
now the mainstream news.
Is that really a shocker?
Did the mainstream news talk about how this was basically a fake event? Did the news media talk about that? That there was only like 100 people in there total, most of which were press, and the small number of students that were in there were apparently brought in as fake students, except for those little kids we talked to. We did get some student press. They were going to give us an interview and everything. They never did it. So
No.
South St. Paul.
There's even, we even ran across little children that were students, you know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Learning photography. They're like 11.
Yeah, and they had credentials because they were invited, but we weren't. We didn't have.
Didn't fit their narrative, or I don't know why.
But the teacher wanted to have us give him an interview because we would have given him a fair interview.
Yeah.
We also wouldn't have run it on live or anything,
No,
because it's
no.
little kids,
No, he's right. They're not ready for live, you know.
That's
no.
what we talked to the professor about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
yeah.
teacher. But we would have made nice little videos that would have been professional and they would have looked good. And we would have done them separate so they would have 3 different kids so they would be able to do them individually and not as a group, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was also going to have the teacher talk and explain the deal. So we'd have one segment that would be the teacher talking, and we'd have like 3 little segments that are the individual kids talking, and maybe a fifth segment that's talking all of them together or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they'd have something that they could use. And then I also was going to talk to them about video editing and whether or not they're doing the mechanisms and what they're learning in school and You know, kind of the kind of stuff that I might have talked to a bunch of kids about, like if I was doing a junior achievement type presentation. You know, educational stuff, which I think the teacher would have liked that. So
Yeah.
Well,
would have been good
looks
for
like
their.
she's here, doesn't it?
Oh, Ghost?
Ghost.
She's probably here, yeah. So what else do we do this week?
I was going to ask.
So-
did they
so
ask
we are
Biden
seeing-
about the electrical grid, what they're going to do, how much they're going to spend on the electrical grid.
You wouldn't have been allowed to ask any questions from Biden.
So we seen Biden drive in. We're there, and then after that, it seems like after he drove in, we started seeing more and more Biden people. But
There weren't very many. There's only about 20
there
total.
was more Brandon people over Biden people. We seen about 20-ish people that were there for Biden, but there's more.
Well, it was
Trumpers.
very bipartisan. We noticed it was very bipartisan.
Yeah.
There were basically the Let's Go Brandon people, and then the FJB people.
Oh, and then those
So
two
basically-
groups that we talked to, the
Ethiopians.
Ethiopians.
Really?
We talked to those two groups. They did not. They were against each other, but they liked us because we were talking with them, you know, and getting their story, you know, and asking why they're here.
getting their literature, getting
Yes.
their
Yes.
contact information.
So they were very friendly, and they were sharing their story and everything. So
We're talking about their genocide, their war. Basically, they're having some kind of a conflict back in Ethiopia, and they both had their different spins on it. We were letting them both talk, so we don't really have an
That'd be
axe to grind on that. So
Yeah.
we don't really know anything about it, you know. So we're letting them talk.
Generally in Africa, when there's war, it's the Muslims against other tribes or Christians.
Well, we don't want to say that because they were claiming that's not the case. They were claiming.
what's it? I forget the
There
name.
they are.
God, what's his name?
Victor,
Yes, yes.
is that who it is?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Oh, we don't know. We'll find out.
Are
So
you sure? Because that's not his car.
It looks like him. I don't know.
well, anyway. So what else do we do this
But,
week?
We did the Biden thing. We welcomed Biden to Minnesota.
He did not feel comfortable in his
And-
vehicle. He
and,
was.
and we all told Biden bye as he left.
The only ones who got to see Biden basically were the
Fake
D-
students,
the
Paid
DFL elites and stuff.
paid
you know,
actors.
the paid actors and stuff. You know, if you went to a Trump rally, you've been to a Trump rally, haven't you, or no?
Actually, I haven't yet, but I listened to Trump live interview on govictory.com this week.
Okay, this Biden rally had basically nobody there.
No, it had like 20-ish. And
Yeah.
well, and then when I was interviewing one person that was for Biden, she verbally attacked me because
You should have seen it.
I was talking with them.
Most of these Biden people were decent,
Well,
but this one who claimed to be a medical professional
Oh, no.
was
She
an absolute
was-
troll.
she-
Was an absolute troll
she
and was attacking Cammie,
because I was
accusing her of causing deaths
well,
and
see,
stuff.
Oh,
I was saying, well, isn't this mandate must I mean because this mandate is not choice, you know, and the lady was like, well, everyone, you know, needs to take this, you know, jab, you know, it's a, you know, so she's saying everyone who's basically getting fired from the job for not taking it, that's their choice. I'm like, but it's not their choice because that's not freedom. That's, you know, that's the, you know, that's the. But the lady's just like, well, they're choosing not to, so they should lose a job. It's like.
I was
that's not
letting you do the
freedom.
talking because we don't like to have two people talk against one.
So, and
But-
I figure, I mean, I think I was being fair.
You're
you
being
know?
fair, yeah.
I was, you know, I was stating the fact between, you know, choice and mandate. And she's like, well, it's their fault. They chose to lose their job and get fired. I'm like, but they didn't, you know. And so I'm getting blamed for not taking the jab and not helping to get America back to normal. It's my fault because I'm choosing not to take the jab. So therefore, people like me are not helping to get us back to normal.
You know we
can I
didn't
say something on that?
we didn't pile up
Yeah.
on her.
Yeah, there's just a new report out. The CDC funded this study this week, And colleges came in and did the study in a, let's see, where was it done? But anyway, on the spread of coronavirus, and the results of their study that were released, it was on Epoch Times and other media. It said that if you have the vaccine or don't have the vaccine,
Jab.
that the new variant, what is it,
Omicron.
Omicron.
Yeah,
the new
Omicron.
variant spreads equally
Yeah. All of the people that
from
they're catching
unvaccinated
were vaccinated.
and vaccinated. It didn't matter
Yeah.
if you were vaccinated or unvaccinated. The new variant was spreading just as easily among
Yeah.
both. I go, wow, they admitted it. That's pretty
Yeah.
easy.
So anyway, going back to this stuff here.
But yeah,
you know
she
the
verbally attacked me. And then,
yeah, but no, here we don't pile up on people when we're talking one person against another person. And when they started piling up on her, when there was multiple ones talking against
then
her,
it's time to-
then I'll chime in and start talking.
But I know
But you know the point is she's saying that, well, it's your choice, your choice. Okay, I'll give Bruce a choice. I'll give Bruce a choice. This is the choice. The choice she's offering is you get this jab or we're gonna fire you. Okay,
Yeah.
right?
That's a choice.
That's a choice. Okay, Bruce. Your car over here. I'm gonna. If you don't give me your car right now, I'm gonna beat you up. Right? I'm gonna dox you. I'm gonna do all kinds of stuff to you if you don't give me your car right now.
Just like-
That is not a choice.
no,
It's not a choice to force people to wear little yellow stars or else we put you in prison. It's not a choice to put people in ghettos for their protection. It's not choice to put people on train cars and send them off to re-education camps or
Yeah.
into concentration camps where they're killed.
Yeah.
These ultra-leftists, these Marxists are always saying, well, it's just your choice. It's just for
No.
protection of society.
Well, that's
They've
what-
been doing this kind of stuff forever. And what they're doing is they're using this idea that, if you don't do what we tell you to, we're going to attack you. We're going to go after your children. We're going to go after your families. We're going to do all this stuff.
Well, that
And
was
it's all
my
your
point.
choice. And
That was my point.
you're choosing. It's complete bullshit.
And that
They're
was
not not choosing. They're
Well,
being
and that
forced.
was my point with her.
Right.
That was my point. And
That's
then,
the point.
Well, and then all of a sudden she's
And then they're starting to accuse Cammie of being the bad guy. They're starting to accuse you of being the person who's killing people.
Well, then they also walk away. It's like, well, I was trying to keep a conversation, but
When you started winning, they want to walk away.
well, because our friends, I
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
say any names, but they seen I needed help, so they came and
Well,
and that's why they didn't want to stay, because my friends were coming to help me, and that's why I walked away from the conversation. Like, oh, so you can attack me, but when my friends come and join the conversation, you can't handle it.
You know what I do? Well, let's just say Cammie is having a fair conversation with somebody.
I thought it was fair.
Yeah, it's a fair conversation, and then some other people on our side start coming on there and start sniping at the other side. We get somebody who comes along and they start interrupting Cammie, and Cammie's having a conversation with somebody else, and they start sniping on the other person. So the other side is getting outnumbered by people on our side. Typically, what I'll do is I'll take the other guy's side. I'll actually help the other team a
I
little
can
bit.
picture you doing that.
I do that because if and I also will tell the other person to shut up, because we've had some really good interviews where one person is having a conversation with another person, and then people on our side come up and they start doing dumb stuff, and it just wrecks it. It just totally wrecked it.
I'm not totally in on that because Jesus sent them out 2 by 2
Yeah.
to witness.
Well,
the
2 by
gospel
2 is
to
a fair. If we have 2 people on their side and 2 people on our side,
No, well,
that's
2
fine.
and whoever.
but I'm not okay with if we're talking to one person and they're talking to us, and next thing you know we got them surrounded and eating people around. That's not fair. We got to have and we got to have a fair conversation.
Not in a debate. Of course, the gospel.
We don't threaten
presentation
anybody.
Isn't so much of a debate or a coercion type of thing. it's sharing good news. Did you know you just won the lottery? $50 million. Can I give you the ticket? I want to share this with you.
That's good, yeah.
I mean, really, it's good news. I mean, yeah, the truth is, we needed to be saved from judgment.
Yep. And yeah, one of the things is if you want the gospel, you want to preach to people, you have to be willing to listen to them. You know, it has to be a conversation. You know, and you're on the winning side, right? Especially if you believe you're on the winning side. You got to listen to both sides.
True.
Yeah, you got to listen to them and be curious. You know, and Cammie was having a really good conversation.
It was good.
It was good. You know, you were having a good one, and it was fair.
I thought it was fair.
It was fair.
Even with that one guy, I thought it was fair questions, and he's like, "Oh, I just see you guys want to start up an argument." It's like, no.
That's when I started talking. When this other guy starts talking, but when it was just you and her, it was.
Oh, I thought it was fair.
It's fair.
I thought
Yeah.
it was fair.
Yeah.
And I feel that freedom.
We got our attackers here. Yeah, I was talking about that last week. They come out here every week. You know, and then you know the people like that. The guy that got arrested recently are the ones who get up there and say that these guys are here to attack us. You know, oh yeah, they're here to attack us because they're just nuts.
But your freedom defense, as far as freedom,
Yeah.
that's really important because that's built into our
Yeah.
fabric of our society. But
Yeah.
also that a person has a right to research their things on their own and make a decision from their own research.
What kind of stuff did you do this week? Besides,
I'll tell you what I did this week. So I did a lot of comments on TwinCities.com, even this morning, and commenting a lot, responding.
On the newspaper?
Yeah.
On the internet?
Yeah, on the internet.
Okay, you didn't go to a lot of.
I ran into another guy. I don't know. The devil's been sending these mockers and slanderers of Christianity.
Yeah.
You know, using the word out of context to, you know, accuse God of being evil. And so I'm dealing with another guy like that, like I did 2 weeks ago. But also what I did was I called as far as I know, every one of my representatives, federal
Yep.
and state representatives that are my representatives for my district.
Yep.
And I called them and I asked them.
You talked to any of them?
I talked to a couple people live, representatives of
Which
theirs. Oh boy, I think Klobuchar.
Oh, you got to talk to Amy Klobuchar?
Not her, but her
office. Okay.
Live. And so,
Yeah.
but most of them I didn't talk to them live. I had to leave a message, but I asked them if they could please remove government interference from people receiving ivermectin cure for coronavirus.
So what did Amy
Because there's over
Klobuchar's
50 studies now.
What did Amy Klobuchar's office say about that?
You know, none of them responded, and it's been several days, and they still haven't.
But you talked to them live, you said.
Yeah.
What did they say to you on the phone?
Oh, they just said, well, I'll share your comment with the senator.
Oh.
You know, that's all they say.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Thanks for your thoughts.
But
or
the
whatever,
government
yeah.
is blocking from people from getting ivermectin. Ivermectin costs $23 in generic form.
Yeah.
They can't make any money off ivermectin. Remdesivir, they make $3,100 off of remdesivir.
Yeah.
And that's from my research, which is very important that we research studies. Anyone who can read and write can read a study and read the results of the study. Well, how come I've read all these studies results of studies that say remdesivir has severe side effects, kidney failure, renal failure, organ shutdowns, and I read ivermectin, over 50 studies show that it's been effective. It reduces death 97% to those who are really ill, and it's worked in India, it's worked in Mexico, and one of the world's top hospitals in Israel, it worked.
Yeah.
And why is it not available? So it's not just freedom to me, but it's also when you read research and you find out the results of studies, why can't you make a decision based on that? Why do you have to do what the government tells you, or what?
Because the government's just here to help. Isn't the government just here to help? And the government's going to tell you the truth, right? You know, and the other thing about the government people,
The government's always honest.
yeah, they're always honest, and not only that, but they're smarter than you are, right? You know, the
They
government.
really care about us.
When we get,
That's good to know. Boy.
because you know, you're just basically ignorant, you know.
They want the best for us. To look
Yeah.
at our best
I
interest.
was
Because basically, we're all a bunch of rocks and cows, right? And you know, if it wasn't for the government, we would all just die. You
I was
know,
wondering, did
that's
They
that's
are looking out for our best interest.
yeah,
Did
that's what they believe.
they change the nation's motto on our currency from "In God We Trust" to "In Government We Trust"? I
Most-
wasn't notified if they did.
I've got millions of clips of the big Democrats all more or less saying that if we don't do this stuff, that they're just ultra racist. They basically believe, mostly the black people, we're all just gonna die if they didn't.
Oh,
You know, I don't run with those clips much, but basically they believe it. They believe that they're the solution. And that the way society taxes are how you make money. You make money by taxes, and
So I know a woman.
it's awful.
And you two both know her, but I won't say names.
Yeah,
But
we don't like doxing people.
her family got coronavirus.
Yeah,
One member of her family is really bad, and they ordered ivermectin from the country of India.
yeah,
This is the only place they could source it. I'm not saying it's the only source,
yeah.
but that's the only place they could source it. And they found out their package on the way got destroyed by the authorities, so they couldn't get it. I
Yeah.
go, you got to be kidding me. And by the way, this family is black. These are black
I mean,
people.
does it really matter what color though?
It shouldn't matter, but he was saying that they claim they're doing what's good for blacks. I'd say no. I'd say they're withholding medicine from blacks.
Okay, I'll tell you something about racism again. I was over at the Planned Parenthood, not the Planned Parenthood, it's the Robbinsdale place where they do abortions, you know. And paying attention, this is today, and all the women who show up there. I'll tell you one thing I noticed. I don't usually keep a record, and I wasn't making counts and stuff. But I was noticing something about all these women who are going there for their abortion services at the clinic today. The significant thing that I noticed was there wasn't one white woman who was there. Not one.
Really?
It was 100% minorities.
Do you think
What?
they placed it in that neighborhood for a reason?
100% minorities, okay? And they were all, there's all these women that are going there. I'm not saying this is every day, but
Yeah.
when I was,
That's what happened that day.
this morning, yeah,
Or
today. Every one of the women that was there was a minority that I saw. And I saw, you know, I wasn't there that long either, but, you know, so this isn't a huge sample size, okay? I'm not talking a huge sample size, but
Yeah,
it's a
because
small
that's,
sample.
That's the original intent of Planned Parenthood.
Margaret Sanger. You know who Margaret Sanger is, right?
Yeah, Margaret Sanger. She placed them in blacks to.
She's a
because
eugenist.
They believed in evolution and the superior races and the inferior races, and she believed blacks were inferior, and that we should get rid of the inferior people.
They still celebrate Margaret Sanger. They go running around all butthurt because of the Confederate generals and stuff and things like that, but they're okay with Margaret Sanger, who was basically.
I'm not okay with Margaret Sanger.
No, the left still celebrates Margaret Sanger.
I think she's very wicked,
Right?
and I think
You know,
Hitler got a lot of. Let's see. No, I think she and Hitler got a lot of ideas from each other, and maybe she got it from him. But anyway, the same vein of.
I think they all got it from Marxists. All of it came from the same, but myself. But I guess, you know, evil is evil, you know.
Sure.
So
Yeah, whatever label you put on it.
I tend to be a little bit anti-Marxist, but, you know,
Well, that's
I
because
tend,
you face them. You've personally been attacked by them.
yeah,
You've
I,
personally been vandalized by them.
yeah,
You've been personally had your life threatened by them. It's no wonder.
I tend to ascribe evil mostly to the Marxists, but there is other forms of evil.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's other forms. It's not just,
Communists, Nazis.
well, I put Nazis and communists in the same camp. I know that they were at war with each other at one point, but that's not uncommon. We have different branches of people that are ideologically very similar at war with each other all the time. That doesn't mean that they're opposites, you know.
No.
So
They just have the same spirit of meanness.
you know the idea of the Nazis and the communists being opposites is
Not
all
opposites.
they're not really. That really goes back to the black and red and the whole ideological stuff and all those flags and stuff with the black and the red and the black over black and the red over black and the black over red and the red over red and all the, you know, the arrows and all that ideological stuff is all, you know, based on the people that we run into all the time. There's actually a lot of different flavors of them too. Ideologically speaking, they're not all the same, but they tend to group up in their community thing, and they don't ideologically they don't necessarily all ascribe to the same stuff. And the minions, the ones that we run into all the time, the people on the ground, a lot of times they're just, you know, basically sheep that are following these people, and they don't really understand fully what the leadership is pushing for. So a lot of times they don't know. So
I think it's real sad that Roseville area middle school, they got the sign of the BLM, a poster of the BLM fist in the air, violent fist. I think that's really sad. And I know they're rewriting, one of the persons from the Roseville school board's rewriting the social study standards for the next 10 years. And he's like pro BLM, he's like pro LGBT, pro CRT. I go, this guy is writing the social studies program for the next 10 years.
yeah, you know,
I'm praying about
so
that.
so you, on BLM, are you one of these people that believes Black lives really do matter?
Oh, absolutely.
But what about Black Lives Matter itself, the organization?
Oh, the organization?
There's a difference. So what's the
You gotta be kidding. That's got nothing to do with Black Lives Matter.
So our people are not anti-black people.
No,
we
we
believe Black
believe
lives really
every
do
life
matter.
matters.
Every life matters, right?
But it's an
But
organization.
we don't believe that Black Lives Matter, the organization, is a good thing. Black Lives Matter, the organization, if you know, that's
they're
Big
Marxists.
difference.
there's a big difference between the organization and
Yeah.
and their slogan.
Yeah, the
I believe every
founder,
life matters.
the founder of BLM in Minnesota, he left BLM because he found out they're not doing anything to help blacks.
He's a
is
speaker
just-
on our side a lot now,
This is
but
just a Marxist organization taken over by
he mostly speaks about educational issues now.
Marxists.
But you know,
Trying to divide our nation
most groups understand that, you know, and really they're not even run by themselves. They're run by these racist white people. You know, the Antifa runs the BLM groups, so
And
they're not
funded
even
by-
autonomous to themselves. They don't get any money. You know, you look at these; they don't get their money. Their money goes all, you know, it goes to Democrat Party and stuff. A lot of times, if you make a donation to the BLM, it goes right to the Democrats. You know,
Sure.
and
Yeah,
the BLM
big houses.
doesn't even get it.
Big houses of its leaders,
Yeah,
extra houses.
yeah. So you know, if you really care about people, you should, you know, hire them at your work, and you know, and make sure that they're okay. When Dante Wright trial is going on right now.
And the Maxwell is going on too. The Epstein's girlfriend?
Yeah,
Whatever?
she's
Yeah, her.
this,
Yes.
and nobody, you know, the Epstein's girlfriend is a huge story, right?
Yeah,
They're basically
that's huge.
basically right now there's a war on women, right?
Yeah.
There's an absolute war on women just on all fronts, and I don't understand how they defend people like Epstein's girlfriend. You know, when she's a groomer, you know, she's a groomer. And I don't want. Okay, she's allegedly. We want to be careful not to. She hasn't been found guilty yet or whatever. But we have.
She's on trial.
She's on trial, but we have these people potentially who are finding young girls mostly, right? And you get some young girl, right? And you start talking about how you're gonna give her tickets to go to London and put you up in this rich, whatever, in this fancy hotel,
And she's so beautiful. You're so beautiful. And
they shine them up, yeah. So basically they're grooming these girls and they're telling them all kinds of stuff, and then basically they wind up, being sex slaves and stuff, right? Or they wind up on some island, and they don't have any rights anymore,
Okay, I did get involved in this because in Roseville, recently, about a week ago, I'll say, we had a hotel in Roseville, and they had a whole bunch of girls in all these rooms there
Yeah.
that they're using for prostitution.
Basically a brothel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they got caught. And so I got into some discussions and debates about this.
Was it this week?
Within the last week or so.
I hadn't heard about this.
Oh, you did?
No.
Yeah, there was a big arrest in Roseville.
Prostitution.
Yeah. And so basically one side was saying that prostitution can be legal and people choose this as a career. And I personally been to meetings at the Roseville Library where we had police and advocates and groups that are helping out women in human trafficking and stuff. I went to this event live, in person, face to face, and heard about all this going on. And prostitution just makes a community worse. They start, people start objectifying women more and soliciting women more. It brings down the whole community. And girls do not choose to go into prostitution as a career. That is very rare as a true choice. Like you're talking about choice. People who are mentally ill or on drugs, or they're being threatened to go into it, or their life is threatened, or they're being beaten. That is how most of them end up in this. They don't choose this as a career. Oh, I want to be a sexual object and be used by men all day. No, women don't choose that. If they do make a choice like that, which is rare, it's probably not a free choice. They probably feel forced into it, or they have no other choice. It's not a career. So that was basically my debate with them. Because what I've learned is, like you're saying, they groom girls, they force girls into this, they kidnap them, or they threaten them, or they beat them, or they do psychological, nobody's going to love you anyway.
It doesn't. I don't believe it starts out right off the bat that we're gonna make you a hooker. They don't do that. What they do is they like find you as a girlfriend or whatever, and then they start being nice to you and doing all kinds of stuff, and then next thing you know, it just keeps getting worse.
Because a human trafficker.
Because they slowly boil the frog. They don't just throw them straight into the ocean.
Trafficking, human trafficking.
Yeah.
As a human trafficker, they can sense when a girl doesn't feel like she's beautiful, doesn't have much self.
That's what they look for, is those low self-esteem.
So they can
women.
build them all
well,
up.
they're also
the words
vulnerable.
They've always wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And then when the time is right, they can victimize them and force them into this.
I'm from Brooklyn Center. Brooklyn Center has a lot of problems with basically homelessness.
Yeah.
Kids who don't really have a place to live. There's a lot of problems with that. And basically what they do a lot of times is these kids are just kind of sleeping over at their friends' houses different nights. And they're just couch jumping, they call it, or whatever. And they don't really have a real home.
They're not.
They don't really have a home.
They don't have protection and safety and
Nope.
a father watching over them.
They don't, and so there's a lot of it. This isn't a nothing thing. This is a big deal. This is a big deal where there's people that just don't have a safe home. They don't have a family. And they're just kind of like transitory, and they're friendly, and they'll stay with, you know. And the thing is, everybody and their brother, you know, was welcoming them to their house, and they come over and they have food, and you know, and they spend a week or whatever, you know, just, you know, and then they go to somebody else's house, and it's the problem with this kind of stuff is when they're doing that kind of stuff, every once in a while they get invited to somebody's house that's not a good guy.
Looking to take advantage of them.
Who exploits the fact that they understand that this person has no choice. This isn't a choice.
See what happens when girls, when they end up in slavery and prostitution, they've gone through so much in their lives, like this transitory living, they don't trust people anymore. So when you go to rescue them from human trafficking, and even the police, they don't know if they can trust them. Because their trust has been broken so many times.
Well, the police might
faith in
the police might take them back to their legal parents or their legal guardians or whatever, who very possibly are why they're out on the street. You know, because because their official parents are really awful people. And it could be that it's not that their parents aren't, but there's a lot of problems with this kind of stuff going on.
Sometimes it's kids just rebelling too.
Yeah, the nice thing about Minnesota, you know, is that we have a lot of good people that try to help out. You know, we have a lot of really good people that try to help out stuff like this. You know, we're very welcoming and very, you know, friendly and stuff.
At my church, we have a group that goes out to minister to these girls.
It's not just girls.
Trapped into this, young women.
There's a lot of boys, the same kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot. It's not a trivial thing. There's a lot.
Oh, it's a lot.
That's the biggest problem in America.
It's not just girls that have this problem.
Child sex trafficking, human trafficking is the biggest problem.
It's not just girls too.
Wisconsin says
It's
there's
boys,
300,000 in the U.S. that are sex slaves.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's.
How can that
and that's
not be
why I don't
reported?
put no bumper stickers saying, like, you know.
Kids.
Well, even those soccer moms or whatever, you know, I don't put no bumper stickers on because that's a sign. Oh, because that's because you're telling everyone, oh, I'm a soccer mom or I'm a whatever. It's telling that person you're a mom. And one of the things I learned that there's a story. I don't remember where I heard it from, but a lady comes out to a car at the grocery shop and she's seen F1, K1. That means one female, one kid.
Oh.
So when they write that, they're telling whoever, watch out for me and take. That's why I don't put no bumper. They target them, so that's why I don't put no bumper stickers on my car showing people, you know, oh, I'm a soccer mom, or I'm basically I just don't do that, you know. It's
like putting on your car, I'm unarmed, and I don't fight back. That's you're
right?
telling
No, they've one of my cousins, or I forget who it was telling me that it's very, very common for the Amish to get victimized.
Oh yeah.
Because the Amish
they don't fight back.
They don't fight back.
Because the Bible says, if someone slaps you in one cheek, let them slap you in the other. And I just went through this conversation this week. This guy said that, oh, you can't defend yourself ever, because the Bible says this. No, I said, yeah, if someone slaps me in one cheek, I'll turn my other cheek. If someone threatens my life, I will defend myself. If someone threatens my family, I will defend my family.
Yeah.
You know, that's, and if China attacks the U.S., we're going to try to take them out.
Yeah.
You know, it's not talking about your life threatened, it's talking about slapping your cheek, you know.
That's a relatively minor thing.
Relatively, yeah.
Slapping your cheek is almost a pride thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like just a trivial, relatively trivial, you know.
But that's why I don't put.
But you know, being victimized, even if it's being slapped and stuff, isn't okay.
But that's-
Women are getting victimized so bad nowadays, and it's on all fronts.
Well,
You know,
women
we're
should defend themselves if they're slapped because
yeah,
you
but
know,
they're
it's
attacking
not
them.
an equal strength thing if it's a man.
Yeah, they're attacking them on all these. I don't know how many fronts women are being attacked on right now.
Well,
you know,
that's why you
privacy and everything, everywhere. It just seems like it used to be the ERA and women's rights movement and stuff was very strong, and everybody was out there fighting for women's rights and stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's like everybody and their brother wants to victimize women.
Yeah.
You know, all of these leftist
that's why
these
you
leftist
shouldn't
groups are
put
just
bumper stickers advertising who you are because you're just giving them an easy target, and I don't do that. You just telling them, hey, I'm a mom of whatever. It's like that's just.
yeah. So what else do we have this week? This week, do you
I
have
think
any
it's
other?
just Tuesday.
Oh, we get invited to stuff all the time.
Oh, you went to the Patriot Tea Party.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Was it?
That the Tea Party Patriots that Mary Amla put out. Mary Amla puts out some of the best stuff ever, right? I got a whole bunch of stuff from the Tea Party.
I'm a Tea Party patriot.
Yeah,
Right
Mary
here.
Amla puts out really good stuff.
Good to meet you.
There was probably what five good speeches. The one, of course, the best one was the guy from the lawyer. I can't even, you know, the guy was really good. I put out his slide deck. I put out his whole presentation. The guy is a rock star.
Is he a Trump lawyer?
He's not a Trump lawyer. He's a lawyer that does a lot of stuff for patriot groups. There's constitutional,
nice.
civil liberty stuff. I've worked with a lot of these lawyer firms like that are doing a lot of this fighting stuff. We have quite a few of them that do civil rights type stuff and defend. You know, this lawyer was a good one. So if people are fighting he's fighting a lot of the same kinds of fights. He listed out, there was so many things. You know, you'd have to watch the whole thing to get it.
Yeah.
There was just so much. You know, it was just an absolute a treasure of all the stuff that he had there. And then
The enemy is trying to wear us down. He's trying to attack us on all fronts
yeah,
so that we throw in the white flag and give up. But that's just the opposite of what we need to do because the prayers are getting through heaven and God is going to rise up and defend his people.
yep,
And so I'm excited, but I don't deny this is going to be easy. And I don't deny that things can get worse and that things are very bad and we're going a very bad direction and that we may not suffer some judgment from heaven coming up here because we're getting so bad as a nation. But I'm also very hopeful because there's so many Christians in this nation praying the same things.
yeah,
That evil gets exposed, that God brings justice and turns the tide, and that people become free again and turn to Christ again for freedom on the inside, and to restore our institutions better than they've ever been. And so it's a big thing, it's a miraculous thing, but we're standing for it, believing for it, praying for it. We're not going to give up until it's ours.
yeah, amen. We also ran into a guy running for CD3 Congress. Right? That's
Really?
good. That was good. I got a good speech for him. And I ran into a lady who was running for Secretary of State. So there's two of them not running. I got two interviews. I got her speech, and I also got a little interview with her. And then Mark Coran again. He's always good. And then I don't remember. There were. I put out a few of those. So we've been putting out a lot of stories. You know.
Yeah, Tuesday was a big one. Biden, that was a big one. I'm just saying that was a big one. That was we all pulled together to wish
Wish him
Biden a
hospitality.
welcome from Minnesota.
Yeah, he's just the fakest. You know, we never saw fake behavior out of Obama. You know.
We love Biden. What are you talking about?
You know, we love Brandon, right? But this whole rally for Biden this week was a complete joke. It was a complete joke, you know.
We found 20 people that was there for Biden.
We were okay. We were actively walking the crowd looking for Biden supporters.
And we found about 20-ish.
We found about 20 total, and we had a hard time finding them. And we talked to them, and they were mostly friendly, except for the lady that was attacking you.
Wow. Yeah, I got verbally attacked.
Most of them were
Was
friendly.
that hate speech?
You know the nice thing about it was 10 to 1 Trump people there.
Yeah.
There were Trump people everywhere there. Okay, the bipartisan Trump people. There was the FJBs, and then there was the LGBs.
Yeah.
So it was like bipartisan.
Yeah.
None of them like. The Ethiopians didn't appear to like Trump, or didn't appear to like Biden.
Nice people though.
They were nice to us. They had American flags and stuff, you know, and all that. So they came across, you know, and really, if you want anybody to listen to your story, you don't punch them in the nose. So.
Well, what? We have no reason to hate them, you know.
We let them talk.
You know, if they have a story, I want to hear it.
Let them talk, yeah. So, and they don't have a huge amount of time to talk, but they talk, you know, and
They did.
and they told us their stories, and you know, and they got their opinions, and people can look at it.
They were nice.
They were friendly to us. So, but you know, we basically we had a pretty good week. So.
Yeah.
And my lake is wide open again.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah.
We had one warm day.
My lake is wide open, so I could have left my dock in. I didn't have to pull it out. But you know, to be honest with you,
May as well.
I'm glad that I pulled the dock in, because you know I don't want to pull the dock in when it's like 0 degrees.
I know.
You know,
yeah.
I don't want to do that.
No,
But
it's cool.
I did like leaving my dock in for over a month. All my neighbors pulled their stuff in a month ago. I left mine out for a whole month, and the reason I like to have it out there is because it's nice. You walk out there and
Sure.
it's more
Out on the water.
I'm more on the water, yeah. And I put my boat away quite a while ago because it got so cold. You know, the boat would get damaged. So we had a good week. We had a good week.
Yep, we had a
So
good week.
now we get to go over to see Governor Tim, and
How did we see Walls?
okay.
At the place he was there.
We didn't see him.
No, we didn't see him.
We didn't see.
That would have been so sweet if he would have walked in the
To
doors.
see his president.
He was there.
He was there, and I wish.
He was in the motorcade.
Oh.
Melissa Hortman and
That would have been so awesome. If
Dean Phillips weren't in the motorcade.
If he would have walked in and we could have talked to him. That would
The only
been
one,
awesome.
the only ones that we saw were the ones who weren't in the motorcade.
Yeah,
The motorcade ones came in with the president.
yeah.
That's why we didn't see him.
It's just a Hollywood event to make Biden.
It's all for the press.
He's got nothing to give. The Democrats have nothing to give
It's all for the
to
show.
this nation. It's just all show now.
So we're gonna go over to Waltz's house, right?
Yep.
And how much? Okay, do you think the governor is gonna come out and talk to us?
No.
You know, because we're mean. We're like these people. We're so hard to talk to, right? How many times have we been over at the governor's place?
Oh, roughly 52 times a year.
We've been over there a few times, right? Done interviews with every single statewide candidate, every single one, except for one, the current governor. All the other ones have talked to us, every other one, and we've been to the Waltz's 50 plus times,
Yeah.
and we're super friends of his dog. We're like the Scout fan club, right? We show up at the
Scout.
Yeah, he's a nice dog. We show up at the governor's.
I like some.
I like dogs.
There's
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
I like dogs.
I got the pet.
I got a big ham bone I could give to the dog, but I don't want to get in trouble because we
He gave
don't
me doggy kisses.
we don't have permission to give the dog food, so we're not
Well,
going to.
he's just like any other dog, you know. You should.
You got to get permission. You can't just give people's dogs food
So
and
are we
stuff.
doing closing prayer?
Oh, well,
you
I
can-
thought we were going to go to the governor's meeting.
Well, you know, we don't want to give Bruce another 45 minutes.
Did
We can do something over there.
Did you want to pray about anything in specific? You could shut them down. Did you want to pray about anything in specific for closing prayers?
I can't think of anything.
We're going to go over to the governor's mansion now.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So we'll just pray, Lord, we ask for your safety today as we go about this week, and watch over us and watch over our families. Lord, protect them, put angels round about us, and Lord, guide us in the work we do this week for you, for this nation, and for our loved ones, and for the vulnerable ones. And Lord, we ask for wisdom, that we not have the type of wisdom that is seeking our own fame and fortune and self-ambition, but we're humble and serving others and speaking truth and submitting to others, and not promote self-promotion, but we're doing what's good and what's right for your kingdom and for our nation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.